Okay, so we'll start the recording now. So good afternoon again, everyone, and welcome to this digitalfilipino.com learning session about how to maximize your social media tools. My name is Janet Toral of digitalfilipino.com, and our hashtag this afternoon is digitalfilipino. You can also contact me using Twitter and using that handle, digitalfilipino. So for those of you who are attending this webinar for the first time and may not be familiar as to who we are, Digital Filipino is actually an e-commerce resource website. We started around 1999, so we are already 15 years old. You can contact us online through Twitter. Our Twitter ID is Digital Filipino, and you can also get in touch with us through Facebook. Our Facebook ID is Digital Filipino. So our topic for this afternoon is all about how to maximize social media tools. And before I proceed further in this discussion, again, if you have any question at any moment, just type your question directly and we will answer them in the best way we can and address any other concern that you have. So pwedeng Tagalog yan, pwedeng English yan, sasagutin natin yan. Okay, so I'd like to begin with the premise that when we use social media, we have to look at it from a perspective of looking at the customer life cycle. So when we talk about the customer life cycle, ito yung sinasabi natin na paano tayo nagkakaroon ng first contact sa customer, paano tayo nagiging connected sa isa't isa, kailan tayo nagsisimulang magkaroon ng pagbibuild ng relationships na kung saan nakakapag-usap tayo online. And answer whatever queries or concerns that our customer may have or our prospective customer may have. No? And then up to the point that they may start considering you as a service provider. And when they make that decision, they will consume that service. And then maybe later on, after consuming that service, they may also want to become part of your community, especially if you make such a service available to them. Now, what I would like to remind my students whenever I teach blogging and social media is that they always have to remember that the best way to connect to people online is when you do it out of your passion, when you like to share your passion to others and you would like to use your knowledge to benefit others. Like, for example, like this webinar this afternoon, I'm doing this webinar for free because I really like sharing my passion to others. And in the process, I hope to be able to build relationships. And if any of our participants will end up having queries later on and they will be interested in any of our offerings, then at least this webinar session will already give them a glimpse of the kind of relationship or the kind of people that they will likely deal with should they proceed to have a relationship with us. So that is what I would also encourage you, especially if you want to use social media as a tool to generate leads and to further strengthen the relationship that you have with your customers. Or for people whom may be past customers or old leads that may not have prospered earlier on, but at least by keeping in touch, by letting people know that you're there, and you're available and you're ready to be of service to them, at least you're really showing also that you have that commitment. And that commitment is not just about making money, but it is about your passion also to what you're doing. No? So if you're still unclear insofar as your passion is concerned, there are many tools that you can use where you will be able to identify and document your passion. So in our case, our favorite tool in terms of documenting our passion, and this is what we use whenever we deal with our students or with clients, is the Porter-Gale funnel test. Porter-Gale is the author of the book, Your Network is Your Net Worth. And according to Porter-Gale, mas magiging effective ka na makipag-network sa ibang tao kung kumo-connect ka dun sa passion mo at passion nila at merong synchronization o may vibe, may positive vibes yung passion nyo pareho to the point that you can work together. So in our case, our passion is all about e-commerce because everything that we do is all about e-commerce, at least on our end. Whenever we do our webinars, our blogs, our digital marketing campaigns, our training offerings, we all see this under the umbrella of e-commerce. And of course, we love to educate people, and that's why we don't mind doing webinars for free from time to time because we believe that reaching out to your audience and giving your audience tools and knowledge so that they can be better in what they do. And whether we communicate that through our blogs, through our free e-learning programs, or through our articles, through our videos, those are all part of the learning process. And of course, all of these anchors with the perspective that you would like to serve people. And whenever we communicate, our tone is all about change. So we try to put things together, e-commerce, education, and people. And our purpose, ideally, if you want to use social media, especially if you want to work with people who can do it for you, it is important that you communicate with them your purpose clearly so that they can see also their role in the bigger scope of things. So in our case, when we look at our passion and when people ask us why we do it, we always answer that we always want to empower individuals with e-commerce wisdom and skills that they can use in sustaining business advocacy. And by doing all of that, and if they will be able to be successful in doing it, they will be able to achieve better quality of life. So, and I think that is very important because especially on social media when there's no, very rare that it will have voice and therefore communicate your emotion. Reading that straight out will not mean anything. But of course, when you hear me say it and you can feel my passion when I say it, then it puts a more human element as to what that passion is all about. No? The second rule, if you want to maximize social media, is that you have to look at it from a perspective that you want to be an influencer. And as I will quote my favorite book author, John Maxwell, leadership is influence, no more, no less. Therefore, you are not a leader when you don't have influence and followers. Because a leader who doesn't have followers is not necessarily a leader, no? So that is why when we want to work with people, insofar as building their social media presence is concerned, or if they want to become a blog and social media entrepreneur, or when they want to become a social media savvy or internet marketing savvy real estate practitioners, I always tell them that it's not just enough that you want to use the tools just to promote the properties that you're selling or to promote your tourism establishments or the stuff that you're selling online. You have to anchor it on the premise that you as an individual, you believe in yourself and that you believe that you have the power or the ability to influence others. And you would like to build that recognition and you want to establish that authority and trust online from other people. And that means that the moment you've decided to become that, then that's the moment that you decide to become a digital influencer. Kaya nga, pag tinatanong ako ng tao kung, syempre, marami tayong nakikita na gumagawa ng mga programs sa digital marketing, sa e-commerce, lagi ko sinasabi, kung ang habol mo lang, basta mabeta ka, behind the scene ka, hindi akong kakausapin mo. Kasi ang hinahanap kong mga tao, yung may ambisyon na maging influencer, may ambisyon na maging digital leaders themselves. Kasi otherwise, hindi siya magiging effective or pag hindi nag-workout, wala na, panghihinaan na loob, ayaw na. Hindi niya mare-recognize yung lahat ng goodwill na na-build niya during that period. So, there was one book that I read around 2008, and this book was by Tim Sanders. And the title of that book was The Likability Factor. Interesting siya kasi nung na-publish yung libro na yon, I don't think nandun na si Facebook eh. Or maybe nung ginagawa niya, narinig na niya before. Pero I think yung concept ng like, hindi pa siya sikat before, no? According to Tim Sanders, who was at that time the CIO of Yahoo, sabi niya, in order for you to become likable, you have to anchor your messaging, your communication on 4 points. First, you have to be friendly. So, you have to observe no unfriendliness. Huwag kang magtataray online, no? You have to develop a friendly mindset. Kailangan iniisip mo lagi paano ka makakatulong dun sa tao na nagko-communicate sa'yo. Lahat na nagtatanong sa'yo, nagtatanong sila dahil kailangan nila ng tulong. Kasi di ba, may times na kahit anong post natin, wala man lang nagtatanong, wala man lang nakikipag-interact sa atin. So the mere fact that they're interacting with you, that means there's that sense of trust na interesado siya makipag-build na relationship sa'yo. Kasi iba, kaya rin ayaw magtanong kasi sobra rin silang intimidated sa'yo, no? So you have to find a way na makakapag-communicate ka ng, in a friendly manner, no? And you must always communicate with friendliness. And then number 2, ang sabi rin ni Tim Sanders, you should be relevant or you should have relevance. And of course, hindi naman tayo talaga magiging relevant sa lahat ng tao. Like in my case, I have around, ilan ba? Mga 8,000 to 9,000 Facebook connections. And if I'm going to factor in all the people who have liked our pages in our connections on LinkedIn, I could roughly say that maybe we have around maybe 12 to 15,000 connections. It's not that much, no? Kasi marami naman dyan talagang passive lang or maybe hindi na sila active na contacts. So you cannot really serve everybody. So that means that you have to identify your, what you call that, your frequent contact circles and connect with their interests, wants, and needs. In my case, I do this of course, through our webinar sessions and our free programs that we have provided online, some of them with the articles that we have posted on our site. And we also have a community called the Digital Filipino Club, and those who signed up with our programs, we call them our Protege members. So doon ako nakikreate ng relevance. Kasi minsan, di mo rin naman masasabi na you're gonna be relevant to everyone. Kasi not everyone naman will be interested on the messages that you want to deliver or to disseminate. Sometimes you only be able to reach out to a certain number of people. So, doon ka rin magde-decide kung gaano talaga kalaki yung circle na gusto mong i-target. You also need to have what we call empathy. And empathy is all about showing interest on how others feel and put yourself in another person's shoes and intindihin mo kung ano yung iniisip niya, wino-worry niya. Kaya usually, one of the things that we do, kung may mga projects kami, we look at, gumagawa kami ng tinatawag na empathy map para mas maintindihan pa mabuti yung customer so that when we design our program or when we develop our content, kailangan maintindihan na, mai-communicate namin siya from the perspective of the person that we are communicating with. And last but not the least is all about being real. Being real is all about being true to yourself and others and share your realness. Minsan, mahirap siyang i-communicate, no? Kaya there was a time that we really have to change our Facebook pages. Pati ako, as a person, I have to be more real in how I communicate. There was a time before na pag uma-attend ako ng mga events, yung ang tawag dito, yung parang sobrang maporma ka. Pero kung tutusin, hindi naman ikaw talaga yun eh. So later on, I realized na if I wanted to be real, I have to do it not only online, but also offline. So ngayon, pag may mga events kami, wala na. Ano na, no makeup policy na. Tapos basta simple lang. Kumbaga, daanin sa content, daanin sa delivery, daanin sa substance. Pero syempre, kahit paano, dapat mo respectable pa rin. So, ganoon din sa online, no? We will share anything na hindi namin ginagamit. We will not say anything na hindi namin pa nagagawa. Kasi, madali naman magbanggit ng mga kung ano-ano mamahaling tools out there eh. Pero, it will be unfair if I will be mentioning tools na napaka-high-tech at napaka-mahal if I myself would not spend money to use it, no? So, kailangan yung pagko-communicate talaga real. Kasi kung hindi, makikita yun nung kausap mo na hindi ka totoo. Therefore, hindi rin niya alam kung authentic ka ba or genuine ka ba dun sa kinikwento mo sa kanya o dun sa sinasabi mo sa kanya. Sabi nga nila, trust is the hardest to gain and easiest to lose. No? One thing that I would like to also indicate is also the difference between blogging and social media. And when you think about blogging and social media, it's also about a discussion about popularity versus influence. Which do you think if I may ask, which do you think is more popular, blogging or social media? What do you think? If you say blogging is more popular, you can type blogging. Or if you think that social media is more popular, you can type social media. So, alin dyan tingin nyo yung mas slanted towards popularity at alin dyan yung tingin nyo mas slanted towards social media? Anong tingin nyo? So, anyone would like to answer? Okay, we already have an answer. Teka, basahin natin siya. Sabi ni Dennis, social media is more, I guess, related to popularity. And yun din ang sabi ni Sandy. So, I guess I can say that that is true, no? Social media is all about popularity. And that's why ang benchmark natin sa social media dati, di ba, in its earlier days, it's all about the number of people liking your pages, liking your posts, how many people are sharing it. Pero I remember in my recent visit to Cebu last March 29 when we celebrated the 20th year of the internet, shinare doon ni John G. Gonzalez yung challenge niya na minsan ang dami-daming like, ang dami-daming shares, pero hindi necessarily ibig sabihin nun, pinupuntahan yung site at binabasa ng tao. So, kasi minsan yung paraan ng pag-share o yung paraan ng paglalagay ng content, halos sinatisfy mo na kagad yung person to the point there's no more incentive para puntahan niya yung site mo at basahin pa niya. So, nandun yung challenge kung paano mo siya mas may communicate na maayos. That is on the point of making the story interesting. But another challenge is with the changes that the social networks have been implementing. For example, sa Facebook ngayon, di ba, nagiging challenge ngayon yung organic reach ng mga posts, no? Yung pagpo-post ng updates, whether photo, status, or links. Sinasabi na ngayon, halos 3% to 5% na lang ang nakakakita sa kanya. Therefore, kung hindi ka magbabudget, hindi ka makaka-reach. And then sometimes you put so many stuff on Facebook, like your photos, na pag ginugal naman siya o sinearch siya online through Yahoo or Google, hindi naman siya lumalabas sa search engine result. Therefore, based on my observation with the bloggers during the 10th Philippine Blogging Summit last 8 to 4 and 5, there's a renewed interest towards blogging. Kasi even if social media is all about popularity because it's all about reach, that is effective if you want something to be amplified, to be spread out. However, if your objective is to be able to influence a certain segment of individuals, or a certain market segment, or a certain niche, then it is still best to reach out to bloggers who has that kind of influence towards a certain niche of readers. But of course, that will only apply if you are dealing with bloggers who are very, very specialized. Like for instance, the one joining me in this webinar room right now is Randolph Novino. Is my, how we call that, siya yung aking katag team, no, na tumutulong sa akin sa lahat ng bagay na ginagawa ko sa Digital Filipino. But Randolph is actually the site owner of PinoyScreencast.net. And if you go to PinoyScreencast.net, it's all about mobile phones and particularly the affordable type of devices. Therefore, kung merong brand na ang gusto niya mag-position ng isang product belonging to a price segment that is below 10,000, hindi ako ang kakausapin niya. Ang kakausapin niya, yung mga kagaya ni Randolph na meron talagang niche for that topic and would only be and will be interested to those type of people na nagbabasa ng ganong klaseng topic. Okay? Okay po ba kayo? May question ba? Kung wala tayong question at the moment, kindly press that raise your hand button if there's no question. And of course, if you have a question, all you need to do is type your questions using the questions box and we will answer your question. Okay, so far wala namang question. Thank you very much. I think what I can also say is that blogging is maturing in our country. There was a time that blogging is very limited. Meron akong tinatawag na award, yung Digital Filipino Web Awards. We started that award, I think, around 2007. And last March 5, we had our 6th Digital Filipino Web Awards. Since the Port Awards, we started using what we call a metric system. Ibig sabihin, wala na siyang human judging. Lahat ng basis sa mga winners ay kinukuha namin based on metrics. Alexa ranking, Open Site Explorer, MOSCOR, pwede rin tingnan yung, dati tinitingnan ko pa yung Google Ad Planner, no? Tinitingnan yung unique views, unique visitors, among others. Pero ngayon, at that time, ang top blogs lang noon, yung mga kagaya ni Yugatech, no? And halos limited lang sa kanya. And so, for this period, nung ginawa ko yung awarding noong March, I'm so happy na nakita ko na at least may mga 5 or 6 blogs na nasa top 500 na ng Digital Filipino na nandun na sa sites like When in Manila, becoming very popular na sa Reading Public. Yung nandito ngayon sa photo, yung nasa taas, siya si Frank Ramon, and you can find him online at frankramon.com, no? And it's a very simple site. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's running on blogger.com. And when you look at his site, ang document niya yung kanyang mga running activities. And then the person at the second photo, yung nasa baba, siya si Michael C. Lim, siya ang site owner ng fashionpolice.com, which can be considered as one of the most popular blogs today. Nagpo-focus siya sa entertainment and marami siyang readers, no? And also running at blogger.com. So as you can see, and from observation, yung mga readers natin ngayon, tinatanggap na nila yung blogs as a source of information and even as a source of entertainment. And in the process, bloggers finding themselves having a unique voice na kahit na may mga mainstream publications dyan, may mga mainstream sites dyan, yung mga readers naghahanap ng mga personal anecdotes that bloggers can provide. And in the process, they are able to build influence, nagkakaroon sila ng following, very niche, and they have influence over them. They are also able to expand their networks and build business relationship with companies. Some of them also earn income online, either as consultants, as models, endorsers, from advertising, among others. And of course, I noticed also that fairness wins in a sense that bloggers who espouse for greater content, balanced content. Pag sinabi natin balance, yung hindi ka masyadong bias towards one brand. Yung hanggat maaari, you make your site inclusive, no? Sila rin yung parang mas nag-prevail kasi at least mas marami sila na provide na type of content. Some of them are also able to gain recognition, like in this case, they can now receive awards. They can also compete with mainstream publications. Magugulat ka, yung blog, yung traffic niya kasing taas ng isang magazine, no, na hindi mo ine-expect, no? And depending on what they blog about, especially if they will have their own advocacies in the future, they can also function as change agents. And I think bloggers with their needs to propagate their content, sila rin yung mga, sabi natin, mga social media savvy na users. And because of that, by writing good content and spreading it through social media, mas nagiging relevant sila sa kanilang target audience. Now, when you look at the changes in the social media scene today, more and more social media platforms are also incorporating blogs as a feature. So as you can see, LinkedIn is now a platform where you can also blog, meaning you can now write blog posts inside LinkedIn. When before, only influencers, identified influencers of LinkedIn can only publish articles within LinkedIn. Now, people like you and I can already publish articles in LinkedIn. And that gives us a challenge because it means that hindi naman pwede na yung mga kung ano lang nilalagay natin sa mga Facebook natin, sa Twitter, or sa G+, or sa mga blogs natin. Yun ang ilalagay natin sa LinkedIn. Kailangan mamili rin tayo nung most apt na content, no? And for professionals, I think LinkedIn will be a very strong platform, no? And it also has analytics, although medyo simple pa siya sa ngayon. sometimes I can help one wonder kasi si Facebook dati ang pinaka-blogging platform niya yung Facebook Notes. Pero I won't be surprised kung yung Facebook Notes na yan baka mas mag-evolve pa in the future at talaga mas magkaroon ng seryosong blogging platforms si Facebook, especially LinkedIn moving towards this direction and attracting influencers. Kasi di ba, marami niyang influencers nagbablog sa LinkedIn pero alam natin hindi siya pwede pang celebrity. So possible talaga na baka si Facebook magkaroon din siya ng magandang blog feature in the future para to match to pero mas magiging mas mainstream yung content. So I guess we can wait and see if that will happen at all, no? Twitter, as you know, one of the founders of Twitter actually started Blogger.com that was eventually acquired by Google.com. But sooner or later, they started their own blogging platform and they called their blogging platform Medium.com. Ang maganda sa Medium.com, meron siyang sariling identity niya, no? At maganda yung kanyang layout, maganda yung kanyang editing tool. In fact, for me, I would consider Medium.com to be one of the most advanced, well, in a sense, no, in my limited experience, one of the most advanced blogging platforms. Ang nagustuhan ko sa kanya na very few users nga lang ang marunong pang gumamit at this point. Halimbawa, ikaw, reader ka, gusto mong mag-comment. Pwede ka mag-comment on a specific paragraph. Unlike most blogs, lahat ng comment nasa baba. Si Medium.com, gusto mong mag-comment sa third paragraph, sa fifth paragraph, sa seventh paragraph. Pwede ka mag-comment, tapos pwede ka magkaroon ng conversation. Kung ikaw yung may-ari ng blog, pwede kang mag-decide kung i-approve mo yung comment na yun kasi that comment becomes part of the entire conversation. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, makikita niya na yung reader, makikita niya na may comments to that specific paragraph. Therefore, pwede siyang mag-ask ng question. Second part, I also would like to emphasize that you need to get loyal followers, fans, and customers. Kasi di ba sabi ko nga, hindi ka talaga influencer kung wala kang followers, kung wala kang fans, at kung wala kang customers. So, that means that eventually, dapat doon ka pupunta, no? There was an article before that I got the chance to review at naalala ko pa rin siya hanggang ngayon na kailangan daw yung kung celebrity ka, at least kailangan mo ng 1,000 loyal fans, customers, and followers. Meaning, kahit na anong ilabas mo, product, service, o kung ano mang gimmick dyan, makakasiguro ka na 1,000 na to, kahit ano pa yan, bibili sila dahil loyal sila. Parang yung mga Apple users, di ba? May mga Apple user na kahit na ano yan, basta nilabas ni Apple, bibili sila. Kasi ganun sila ka-loyal, no? So, parang yun yung sinasuggest sa atin. Now, of course, to do that takes a lot of time. So, that's why we're suggesting that for people who would like to maximize the use of social media, they have to really focus on being able to build movements. And being able to build movements requires a very important component. At yun yung nasa upper left side. And that is all about becoming an inspirational leader. And you can only become an inspirational leader if you are a digital influencer. So, to be inspirational, you should be able to spark relevant conversation, you empower people with knowledge. You don't just make whatever you're giving available to the public. Meron kang mga information na binibigay na pang inner circle mo lang. Parang, halimbawa, kayong nandito ngayon sa webinar na to, although I've already posted the slide share, nung initial version nito, tapos binlog ko na siya bago ako nag-webinar, I made sure na itong webinar session natin, meron kong i-add na content na hindi nakita sa SlideShare earlier o dun sa blog post para magkaroon ng added benefit at matanim yon doon sa isipan ng person na there's more than what you're seeing online na pwede mo pang makuha, and that's why it is okay to invest time. No? You also need to build powerful identities. You also need to have shared ownership, meaning you make your followers, your fans, your customers feel like they are also part of the whole activity. And you can also make them feel like, make them feel like rock stars, especially if they are advocates already. And whatever you do online, you also need to have an offline component and put a greater purpose for your community or for your movement. It has to fight injustice. Kaya nga, di ba, sabi ko kanina, your purpose should always be bigger than yourself. Everything that you do, one way or the other, you're fighting injustice. So, pwede ko sabihin na ako, e-commerce ang ina-advocate ko. Ang pina-fight kong injustice is that pwede ko sabihin na magagaling tayong Pilipino sa online, magagaling tayo sa social media, pero very few sa atin yung nakakapag-come up ng e-commerce business at nagiging sikat online. Not only in the Philippines, but outside of the Philippines. So, yun yung gusto kong ma-breakthrough. And doing that using whatever tools I have right now. No? And of course, in order for you to say that your initiatives are reaching a certain point of momentum, kailangan mini-measure mo siya. No? Kasi kung hindi mo siya mini-measure, mahihirapan ka rin. Of course, in reality, meron tayong tinatawag na disagreement sa ating mga target audience. No? Minsan may mga nakakaaway tayo o kaya may nangaaway sa atin. I remember I have one student na natapos na siya, graduate na siya sa akin eh. And then, from time to time, nagko-consultant kami sa isa't isa and I get that person involved in some of my training programs pa merong prospect na nag-i-inquire ng services. Pag nakita kong busy ako, hindi ko kayang gawin, i-refer ko sa kanya. And then there was one period, ang tahimik niya. So, may event ako, speaker siya. Sabi ko, oh, bakit hindi ka pa mag-ready? Asan, kamusta ka na? Bakit nag-out of touch ka? And then nalaman ko, inaaway pala siya sa isang community. And then, by the time na ikwento niya sa akin, tapos na yung buong pangyayari. And sabi ko sa kanya, I wish you had talked to me much earlier. Kasi yung bullying, hindi talaga nawawala yan. No? Pero, bullying only gets stronger kung nagpapatalo ka sa bully or pinapatulad mo yung bully. Pagdating sa mga communities, kailangan marunong ka mag-handle at and as much as possible, avoid yung mga sinasabi nilang mga negative vibes. No? Kasi wala ka namang mapapala dyan. So, kung hindi mo rin lang naman siya customer, therefore you're serving an irate customer na dapat talagang bigyan mo ng attention. Kung nakikita mo na this person will not be instrumental in terms of achieving your vision, dapat wag mo siyang patulan at all. Kasi the moment na patulan mo siya, nagpatalo ka na sa kanya kasi nag-succumb ka na dun sa power ng person. So, kailangan kaya natin i-handle yung politics niyan, especially if we want to use social media as a means to build our community online. Of course, there are many tools that you can use to generate followers, fans, and customers. And some of that, which is popular today, are the likes of Twitter.com. Ang problem sa Twitter, dahil lahat ng tao dyan, announce na ng announce, there's a big possibility na wala ka talaga nakakakwentuhan. So, para mas makapag-build ka ng relationship, what I would encourage you to do is that you participate in Twitter activities online. Like, for example, kung merong hot issue of the day, merong hashtag, at familiar ka dun sa issue, i-monitor mo yung hashtag at makipag-engage ka with other Twitter users more than just retweeting them. Talagang engage them in a dialogue. Kasi pag nag-engage ka in a dialogue, then unti-unti nag-build ka ng relationship. No? And then you can also do the same for Flickr. Kung kayo mahilig kayo mag-upload ng pictures online, sana hindi lahat ng pictures nyo sa Facebook nilang nilalagay kasi hindi yan nai-index ni Google. I would encourage you to use platforms like Flickr to also upload photos. And when you upload photos, properly mark them, tag the people inside the photo, and let them know that you have tagged them. Kasi, di ba, pag ikaw sinabi ko sa iyo na, uy, yung picture natin, yung kinuha ko mga pictures, nilagay ko dun sa Flickr ko, puntahan mo kung gusto mong kumuha dyan o may gusto mong check out. Then, by letting you know of that, there's a big possibility that you will go there. So, dagdag visitor yon, baka mag-comment ka pa, dagdag engagement yon. You might even share the picture. So, ano yun? Para na rin siyang referral. No? So, kailangan makita natin yung potential ng isang platform, kung paano tayo pwedeng makapag-generate ng lead, kung paano siya, may possibility ba na makakakuha tayo ng customer through it, or makakakuha tayo ng referral because of it. I also would like to share that if you use platforms like Twitter, hindi ko na pagpalit yung slide kanina, meron siyang analytics na ngayon. No? All you have to do is just go to your settings and then meron na siyang analytics. So through Twitter analytics, makikita mo na kung ilan na nag-mention sa'yo, ilan na nag-follow, at ilan na nag-unfollow. Pag masyado kang maingay sa Twitter account mo, ibig sabihin update ka ng update. Yung matindi ang velocity ng updates mo. Kasi may possibility magkakaroon ka ng mga unfollowers. No? So, like in my case, during the time of iVlog, medyo aggressive yan. So, kayo pansin nyo ng mga latter parts, medyo tumataas din ang unfollowers. Pero okay lang yun kasi that's part of the pruning process. And then, binibigyan ka rin na idea na ni Twitter kung ano ang top interest ng mga taong nakakasalimuha mo, taga saan sila, so that you'll be able to gauge the kind of audience that you have within your community. Of course, you can also use Google+, and if you use platforms like Google+, one of the best tools that you can use right now is Google Hangouts on Air. Actually, itong webinar na to, one option that I have is not to use GoToWebinar, but instead use Google Hangouts on Air. And meron nga isang webinar platform, yung I think Webinar Jam, na ginagamit niya Google Hangouts on Air. Ang challenge ko lang sa Google Hangouts on Air is that, syempre, dahil free siya, hindi ka rin guaranteed na palagi siyang available. So baka mamaya, mahirap na may mga paid events ka or activities na doon mo ginagawa. And sometimes it's also an issue about consistency para hindi nalilito ang tao. So usually ginagamit ko siya kapag meron kaming mga free events na kailangan talaga ng live streaming. So usually si iVlog, doon ko siya mas ginagamit, no, o ginagawa. Or worst case scenario, kapag talagang down si GoToMeeting, doon ko lang siya ginagamit. Pero yun na nga, kung aspiring ka na magkaroon ng iyong TV show o mga learning sessions, you can use Hangouts on Air. Pwede kang mag-share ng PowerPoint presentation online, kagaya ng ginagawa natin right now. And then pagkatapos na i-recording mo, lagay mo na siya sa YouTube channel mo. So this can be a great tool, lalo na kung may mga binibenta kang products online na gusto mong i-demo through video or through a PowerPoint presentation. And of course, if you set up your Google Plus account, and if you identify the websites that you own and you are active in updating your website, if people will search for articles and nagkataon yung isang article doon, ikaw ang nagsulat, there's a big possibility na lalabas yung site mo at pati yung picture mo lalabas nun sa search engine results. Although that is not guaranteed, ha? Hindi naman ginaguarantee ni Google yon. Pero I think kung madalas ka mag-update to the point na identified ka as a content creator, then there's a big possibility na lalabas ang iyong photo. Of course, as I said earlier, nandun yung interest na ayusin yung mga blogs natin. Pero kailangan, bukod dun sa blogs, ina-update din natin ang ating mga social media presence. So one of my favorite social media site is SlideShare. As much as possible, kapag meron akong article, I have a SlideShare document, I have a blog post, and then meron siyang kasamang YouTube video. Kaya tayo nag-webinar today, no? Kasi gusto ko sana yung article na ginawa ko na itong tungkol sa how to maximize social media tools will have a SlideShare, an article, and a YouTube video. Yung nga lang ito, mas updated na to. So, okay na rin naman kung dahil mas updated siya. Ang advantage ng ito is that if my content in SlideShare and in my blog is quite consistent or synchronized, no? Pati yung nasa YouTube video or online video, whether that's on Vimeo. Kung sakaling mag-down yung site ko for one reason or another, o magka-problema yung SEO ko, which happened to me last year, kahit na pumunta siya ng page 2, hindi ka naman totally mawawala. Sa experience ko, yung social media site, biglang sila yung nag-rank. Like, may time na nawala ako sa page 1 dahil nagkaroon ng problema yung SEO ko. Pero I was very happy kasi yung slide share ko ang napunta doon sa number 1. So akin pa rin yung number 1. So okay, pwede na rin yun, no? But of course, you should prioritize on working on your site. Hindi porket you want to maximize social media tools, ibig sabihin nun, lahat ng gagawin mo ay online lang. You should also make time to engage people offline. And this is where we encourage you to become a thought leader. A thought leader is not someone na nababasa mo lang. Kailangan napapakinggan mo rin siya. Kailangan nakaka-interact mo rin siya. Kasi yung napapakinggan mo at nakakausap mo, yun ang nagbibigay ng validation for everything that you've read online. Kasi di ba naalala nyo before, there was this very, very popular newspaper columnist sa Inquirer, if I recall correctly. He got appointed to become an ambassador, I think sa US yata, or for one of the organizations. Ito na, may commission on appointments na hearing na, no? Committee on appointments. So, punta tong very famous na person na columnist. And the politicians were actually awaiting for that person kasi nga, magaling siya magsalita, very critical, among others. Pero nandun na, nung presentation na niya, nang nakikipag-usap na, parang na-disappoint sila kasi andun yung sumasablay yung grammar, hindi ganun ka-articulate, no, among others. So, ibig sabihin, ako, ang realization ko na makita ko yung situation na yon, ang laki ng disappointment ng audience kasi parang hindi nag-synchronize yung nakikita nila sa print, sa online, versus nung makita nila yung person offline. Kaya doon pumapasok yung sinasabi ko kanina na kailangan totoo ka. Kung ano yung nakikita sa'yo sa online, sa mga sinusulat mo, sa mga pinopost mo, kailangan pa nakita ka in person. Ikaw talaga yon. Hindi yung ang galing-galing mo sa online, tapos pag offline parang ang dating parang hindi ikaw yung nagsulat nun o hindi ikaw yung naglagay. O maaaring ikaw pero hindi ka lang magaling mag-verbose ng iyong ideas. No? So engage with the community. In becoming a digital influencer, you should be willing to become a thought leader as well. And talk to people and get to know them well. So also remember that, sabi ko kanina, di ba, you have to share your passion. Tapos, sinabi ko rin na you have to build a loyal following. And then, ito lang gusto ko rin sabihin na don't be afraid to fail, to quit, and to start all over again. Kasi, hindi mo naman talaga makukuha yan ng 100%, lalo-lalo na papalit-palit yung mga social media policies. Papalit-palit din ang interest ng mga tao. So, but what I would suggest though is that kailangan din talaga maging smart ka sa paggamit ng mga applications. Kasi, meron nga ako nabasang article How did social media turn us all into minimum wage workers? Kasi parang sa sobrang time na ginagastos natin o ginugugol natin o ginugugol, no? Yung ini-invest natin in using social media and the amount and the results that you're getting, sometimes parang feeling mo parang talo ka na kung i-compute mo talaga yung per hour rate mo versus the return that you're getting. So, dun natin sinasabi na kung ganun yung situation, then you have to optimize how you use social media. So, there are many tools that you can use to maximize the use of social media to become more effective or to become more efficient. One of which are tools like Hootsuite na kung saan pwede ka mag-post ng updates. At pag nag-post ka ng updates, lalabas yan sa Twitter, sa Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, sa WordPress. Pero syempre, lagyan mo lang yan ng schedule, no? Para naman, hindi yung kahit saan magpunta Pag pumunta ako at this very minute kahit saan ako magpunta, makikita ko yung update mo pare-pareho. Ang suggestion ko lang, lagyan yun ng interval para hindi naman siya mukhang bot masyado. Nagpo-provide din siya ng analytics, so at least makikita mo yung performance ng inyong mga tweets. No? So I would suggest Hootsuite. Like ito, naglagay ako ng tweet kanina, how to maximize social media tools, lalabas yung update ko at 3:10 p.m. So this is an example. So pwede ka maglagay, and then siya na yung mag-i-schedule. But of course, sometimes one-time posting is not enough. Another tool that you can use is buffer.com. So buffer, same concept. And then, of course, lahat yan pwede ka mag-attach ng pictures. And ganun din, no? Naglalagay din siya ng mga social media, naglalagay din siya ng statistics para malaman mo kung ilan ang nag-retweet, ilan ang nag-mention, ilan ang nag-click, and then bibigyan ka rin niya ng idea dun sa potential reach nung tweet na yon because of it being shared. Another tool that you can also use, not too many people know this already, yung Clout.com. Clout.com actually allows you to measure your digital influence. But one of the things that it also provides is that pwede ka na rin mag-share ng content through Clout at pwede mong i-schedule yung pag-share ng content. So at least ikaw, pwede mong planuhin na, oh, may content ako i-share, lalagay ko siya sa Clout, lalagay ko siya sa Buffer, lalagay ko rin siya sa Hootsuite. Siguraduhin ko lang na iba-ibang oras. So at least, isang lagay pero mapopromote siya at least 4 times. Yung ikaw ang naglagay, yung mamaya lalabas yung sa Hootsuite, mamaya lalabas siya sa Buffer, and then another mamaya ulit sa Clout naman siya. Si Clout naman yung mag-disseminate sa kanya. Para at least ma-hit mo yung as many people as possible. No? Kung ikaw naman nagbablog, what you can do also is that you can deliver your blog post to several channels. So, halimbawa, meron ka mga blogs, nag-update ka ng blog mo, although you can do the same also with Hootsuite, no? Pero dito, pwede mo rin siya mapalabas sa mga iba't ibang social media sites. Yung nga lang, I have to give you a warning when using yung mga kagaya nila Buffer, saka nila Hootsuite, saka itong Deliver It sa Facebook. Meron ako mga blogs na nakita na pag kindik yung links na sabi ni Facebook, wina-warningan ka na baka spam yung blog na yon. And then I realized yung mga blogs na tinag na spam are the ones who are using itong Deliver It, yung mga auto-sending na platform. So, careful tayo sa pagpo-post sa Facebook ng mga scheduled posts. I would suggest kung talaga may scheduled post kayo, you might be better off using the Facebook tool for scheduled posting. Another favorite tool na gusto kong isuggest sa inyo na pwede nyo i-explore, hindi ko nga alam kung paano ko siya ipopromote, ipopost, no? O ipopronounce, Zapier. I really like Zapier kasi although bago lang akong user sa kanya, ang ginagawa niya, pwede kang mamili ng mga tools. So, for example, if you want your RSS feed na automatic lalabas sa Facebook, pwede niyang gawin yun. No? Ang nagustuhan ko sa kanya, yung tool na, halimbawa, I have a webinar on Tuesday. I have around 102 joining me in that webinar. Dati, dalawa lang ang choice ko. It's either I will email all my students, o ito yung webinar link, mag-register kayo. Or I will ask a person, o ito yung listahan ng estudyante ko, input mo. Ito, ang ginawa niya, in-import niya yung sa Google Docs, tapos automatic siya na yung nag-input nun sa webinar platform. So, automated na siya. Although may bayad siya for doing it, pwede ka mag-trial ng 14 days. Pero sa akin, very effective yun kasi lalo na kung, halimbawa, gaya ko, 12 yung sessions ng webinar ko. 12 sessions. So, pwede ko nang gawin yung 12 webinar rooms. Isang lagay ko lang, automatic i-import na siya sa 12. So, napakalaking bagay nun for me. Napakalaking time saver. So, I would suggest using this tool. Okay? Of course, sabi ko naman sa inyo, hindi lahat magiging successful, no? Sometimes magkakaroon din kayo ng mga downtime and that is normal. So, importante lang talaga na you should be proactive in measuring your performance. So, some of the tools that I use in addition to Google Analytics would be the likes of Moz.com, and I also use Alexa.com. Sa Moz.com, nakikita ko kung sinecheck ko kung ano yung ni-report ni Google, mas naglalagay pa siya ng greater detail in terms of kung ano talaga yung na-experience ko dun sa website ko. Madalas, pag active yung website ko, mas mataas ang direct traffic niya kaysa sa search engine traffic. Pero pag hindi ako ganun ka-aggressive mag-update, lumalabas, mas mataas ang search engine traffic. Pero kahit na mataas yung search engine traffic, minsan mababa rin yung search engine traffic. So, tinitingnan ko yan. Tapos, pag mababa, tinitingnan ko kung ano yung galaw ng mga ka-look-alike na websites ko para makita ko kung if there's anything I should do. Like, nakita niyo yung sa baba, yung historical traffic trends. I noted mga 10 na ka-look-alike na website ko eh. Ka-look-alike meaning may konting similarity in what I'm doing to what they're doing. Ako yun, nasa pinakataas yung blue. So, pag meron ako nakikita na medyo, ano yan, humaharurot, no? Sa car, di ba? O sa tricycle humaharurot, mabilis, no? Pag may nakita kong bumubulusok yung pagtaas, yan, tinitingnan ko kung ano nangyayari. Tapos, mag-decide ako, kilos na ba ako? Para umangat din yung akin o okay pa ako, no? So, doon ako medyo na-decide. Okay? In the book, Made to Stick, ang sabi ng mga authors doon, you have to look at success in a way na kailangan meron ka ma-meet na parameters para raw yung mga idea mo mag-stick sa tao at therefore magiging successful siya. So halimbawa, pag meron ka ni-launch na program, simple lang ba siyang intindihin? Of course, yung simple sa'yo, pwedeng sa ibang tao, unexpected siya, no? I guess when we talk about simple in a sense na madali ba siya maintindihan kapag pinaliwanag. I think for me, yung second ang pinaka-importante. Sa lahat ng ginagawa ko, yung number 2 ang pinaka-tinututukan ko sa lahat. At ito yung tinatawag nating unexpected. Kasi, di ba, if kung pare-pareho kayo ng ino-offer, wala nang bago. Yung target audience mo, sanay na ganun na siya. So, kahit pa sabihin mo na ikaw lang gumagawa ng ganon, pero dahil ganun lagi ang format mo, hindi na siya unexpected kahit na ikaw lang gumagawa nun. So, you have to think about ways on how can you always be unexpected and in the process, surprise your target audience and be perceived as something, or maybe if you're lucky, be perceived as someone or something that is remarkable. No? Kailangan complete siya, meaning solid yung offering. Magiging useful siya dun sa tao. Kailangan credible siya na pwede siyang pagkatiwalaan to the point na panagdagay ka ng pera mo, alam mo, willing ka mag-take ng risk kasi alam mong credible yung offer. No? Kailangan din may emotional na attachment. So, doon natin, kaya minsan, when we communicate our organizations, palagi natin kino-communicate yung advocacy na component kasi doon pumapasok yung emotional component. Sabi nga ng iba hindi naman yung produkto ang binili ko yung storya. Para si Manny Pacquiao, di ba? When we will watch the game, the boxing fight tomorrow, when you really look at Manny Pacquiao, it's not just about him as the boxer. It's all about his story, kung paano siya nag-start. I remember in one Rotary event na nag-talk ako, yung District 3810, yung isang speaker, sabi niya, mataas daw ang survival quotient. Survival yata yung ginamit yung term. Survival quotient. Sabi niya raw pinakamataas si Manny Pacquiao kasi katira niya, sabi niya, when Manny Raw was still young, he would fight daw every day kasi kailangan niya mag-fight para manalo siya at yung winnings niya, yun yung panggagastos niya sa araw-araw. And he was still young at that time, parang underage pa siya. So, ibig sabihin, mataas ang kanyang adversity quotient. Yung mga yung winentro niya na crisis, matibay siya. So, in the process, kaya ang lakas ng emotional connection niya sa tao. No? And yung mga story na yon is what makes him fascinating. At kaya mataas din ang kanya success pa. Yung success likelihood niya. Lalo na sa pagko-connect sa audience. So, ibig sabihin nun, pag gumamit tayo ng social media as a tool in communicating our products and services online, kailangan simple lang siya, pero find a way na magiging unexpected siya, concrete, meaning kumpleto sa information, solid yung offer. It sounds credible, it is perceived as credible, may emotional touch, may story na that makes the offer human. No? I always also advise my students to use the rebel in you, no? Lead and think differently. Kasi kung hindi mo siya gagawin, then lahat ng ginagawa mo online, walang bago. Yung ginagawa mo, pwede nakikita na rin sa iba. So, what I would always suggest is, kasi sabi ko nga, kailangan maging digital influencer ka, di ba? So, you have to decide whether you're going to be the rock star or are you going to be the king or queen of your own kingdom, no? So, pwedeng maging rockstar ka sa YouTube, rockstar ka sa Facebook, o rockstar ka sa Twitter, o kung saan man. O baka pwede maging king and queen ka of your, king or queen ka nung sarili mong kingdom o yung blog mo. So, pag ako tinitingnan ko yung online scene, lalo-lalo na pagdating sa social media, syempre alam naman natin yung mga TV networks, they're very aggressive in using social media. On the right side, do you know the person on the right side? Kilala niyo ba siya? Yung girl na nasa right side, yung katabi ko, yung nakasalamin, kilala niyo ba kung sino siya? Can you type her name if you know who she is? Okay, tama si Sandy. Siya si Maria Ressa, tama. Diego and Dennis. I remember first meeting her in person when she was still with ABS-CBN. And na-invite namin siya mag-talk sa aming mga conferences. I saw her spoke in 3 conferences. Yung first one dun sa conference namin, yung social networking conference. And I remember during that time, nung nagtutalk siya, she was telling about the elections, anong ginagawa ng ABS-CBN, at yung paano nila tinanggap yung leads about Maguindanao Massacre. And I remember that the audience was so engaged kasi syempre, kung active ka sa online, naaalala mo pa yung mga stories nung sinishare siya online, naalala mo na nag-like mo yon, naalala mo na shinare mo yon, o nag-comment ka. So, parang all of a sudden, you're part of the news. Naramdaman mo yung kwento na part ka of the scene. No? And Maria was also very, and I think still is, aggressive user of Twitter. Yan yung parang paborito niyang social media platform. No? Lahat kami mga nag-tweet noon, matapos na yung event, naalala ko, nagre-retweet siya, tapos nagre-reply pa siya. And something that you don't expect kasi she's very busy pero she takes time during that event. And I think yung kanyang sincerity in connecting to people hanggang sa face-to-face events, I think that was a big investment. Kasi, and talaga na-carry niya yun. Kasi nung after ABS-CBN, nagpunta muna siya ng Singapore. I remember having one trip in Singapore and having to catch up with her over lunch, no? Parang chika-chika lang. And then, a few months later, balik na siya ng Pilipinas. Ayan na, lumabas na yung Rappler. And talagang everybody was so, wow, all na, wow, may Rappler na, Maria Ressa is the one leading it. And talagang bumulusok agad yung popularity ni Rappler. And you can see her personal social media account being one of the platforms used in disseminating new content from Rappler. So, kaya for me, nung makita ko yun, doon ko na-realize, huwag mong panghinayangan na ayusin yung social media mo, mag-invest ka, kasi you're gonna carry it with you wherever you go. No? And I think because of that, on the left side, kilala nyo ba yung guy na nasa gitna, yung nasa left side, yung may hawak ng trophy? Yung naka-white coat, kilala niyo siya? Do you know him? Yes. So siya si Howie Severino. Of course, he represents GMA News. No? Howie, I think medyo malaki ang trabaho ni Howie. No? Siya yung nag-handle ng online news desk ng GMA News. No? Lalo na sa online. Pati yung mga pag-explore ng mga new technologies, mga breaking news, mga live coverages, talagang he is the man on top of it. No? Pero nagustuhan ko kay Howie, pag merong opportunity na, ayan, to speak in public, to reach out to the people, and talk about what they do sa network, he really goes out of his way to do that. Yung nga lang, sa pagkasobra niyang busy, hindi na nga lang siya gano'ng nakakapag-social media, no? Pamisa-misa na lang. Pero I think lahat ng yun, was also driven by the fact that the top news executives are really using it. So anong ibig sabihin sa atin nun as digital influencers and as content providers? We are now at a stage, or in fact, nangyari na siya a few years back, na you can already engage with a lot of the news personalities online, build relationship with them, and share relevant content na who knows, no? You might even find it worth the time to pick it up. At kung may mga breaking news nga, di ba, sa mga users na sila humihingi ng mga pictures para lang na-feature nila sa kanilang mga websites. And there's a lot of emphasis right now on mobile commerce. So I would suggest that when exploring the things that you can do, if you can include mobile into it, I think that is something that you may want to explore on because everything is going there. Meron na mobile payments, the mobile phone device can now be used as a card swiper. You now have live streaming of your favorite content, no, content on demand. And then you also have local games being developed right now and being deployed through the mobile device. And marami pa tayo mga apps na kailangan. So I think that is an area where investments need to focus on in the future. And last but not the least, I just want to share na pagdating sa social media, diversity wins. Mas marami kang magandang content, useful content, at na i-design mo according to sa pangangailangan ng tao, mas magiging suitable siya at mas pipikapin siya. So, and I think that's why social media cannot be handled by one person alone. It has to be a collaboration within a group where different ideas can be entertained, different mindsets, at hindi porket hindi mo type, ayaw mo na. Kasi pwedeng yung ayaw mo, kasi yun yung taste mo. Pero hindi mo naman pwedeng conclude na lahat ng audience mo ganun mag-isip. So, kailangan game ka rin be open to other ideas, and you should be willing to experiment. So again, always remember that before you embrace social media, always think about your passion, your intention, and your purpose. Why are you doing it? And whenever you think of new ideas to roll out, ask yourself, will this be in line with my passion, with my intention, and with my purpose? So with that, thank you very much po sa pag-attend nyo ng ating webinar session ngayong hapon. Randolph, I think we can already stop the recording and we're going to